Why, hello there, welcome back to the Star Wars headquarters. Hope you're doing good, and we are talking about a little game called Star Wars Battlefront 3. It's a game we've been dreaming about, hoping for, wishing for, and hopefully we get an announcement here very soon. That's what I'm hoping for, because it's usually hosted in June. We do know that E3 has officially been announced, but we're still waiting for that EA Play announcement from EA. Now, let's talk about Battlefront 3. That's what we're talking about in this video, because ScreenRant.com, they actually posted a really interesting article about Battlefront 3, and usually ScreenRant.com doesn't talk about this stuff like this, so maybe they know something we don't, I don't know. But we're going to take a look at the article. They put together a really nice article that says Star Wars Battlefront 3, everything we know so far about the rumored game. And again, it's not confirmed by EA or DICE at the moment, but we're going to take a look at this article. I'm going to give you my response on what ScreenRant.com had to say about the rumors, and then of course give your response in the comments. I would love to hear your response about this stuff. But let's jump into the article, shall we, and take a look at what ScreenRant.com had to say, starting off with the potential release date for Star Wars Battlefront 3. So it says, the release date for Battlefront 3 is likely set for 2022 at this time. The current global situation means that everything is very much still up in the air, but there are currently a host of various projects lined up for the next couple of years from Star Wars. And we already know, of course, we're getting a Jedi Fallen Order 2. We already know we are getting, Ubisoft's Star Wars game, which I believe that's going to be coming out more like 2024 or 2025. And then, of course, Star Wars Hunters is going to be releasing this year. And then we can't forget about Lego Star Wars, which unfortunately that was delayed. But if we move on here, it says, with DICE still working on the next Battlefield, which is set to release in 2021, current projections suggest that sometime in 2022 would be a reasonable assumption for the release of this much anticipated sequel, Star Wars Battlefront 3. So, do you think 2022 is a legit prediction for a Star Wars Battlefront 3? I think it is possible, because if you didn't know, recently EA enlisted the help of DICE LA to help out with their next Battlefield game, which of course is slated to release this year. So that's really interesting. And many people believe they did that because they want the other portion of DICE to start working on Battlefront 3, or really start hitting Battlefront 3's development much harder to get it out much sooner. So what do you all think? Do you think 2022 is a potential release date? Now, if we scroll up here, we go to number 2, new eras for Battlefront 3. So it says, oops, I clicked on a link. So it says, there's a lot of potential for where the series could go next, and there are possibly some big changes in store for the game franchise. The addition of High Republic content to Star Wars Squadrons demonstrates EA is willing to step into new territory, and I totally agree about that. I think High Republic could be an area they explore. Now, it says, with the news that a company other than BioWare and Electronic Arts could be in development on a Knights of the Old Republic reboot, there's a strong possibility that the studio will want to revisit and link up to the franchise in Battlefront 3. There's a possibility the game could expand from the traditional Clone Wars, Galactic Empire, and First Order eras to include both the Old and High Republic. I 100% agree with this. Now, if they would do that at launch, I don't know. That's a good question, because there's still a lot of Clone Wars content we did not get in Battlefront 2. As you know, we didn't get like Ahsoka, we didn't get Coruscant, they could add Ventress, Cad Bane, all kinds of stuff could still be explored in the Clone Wars era. So there's a lot of different directions they could take with the launch of a Battlefront 3. I don't know if they would go all in on Old Republic and High Republic right at the beginning, or explore more Clone Wars content that they have not explored yet, and then reserve Old Republic and High Republic content for later on. Who knows? But I do believe that they will eventually be exploring High Republic and Old Republic content if we did get a Battlefront 3. Now, we're going to move on to number 3. It says next-gen consoles. This one's kind of obvious but it says most games currently in development are being worked on with the aim of launching on next-gen consoles. Indeed, the upcoming Ubisoft game, oops, I clicked on it again. It says the upcoming Ubisoft game set in the universe will be taking advantage of the updated system of the PS5 and Xbox Series X. I cannot wait to see the upcoming Ubisoft open world Star Wars game for sure. Now, they then go on to say, Lucasfilm Games are still looking to a variety of platforms from mobile and PC to Nintendo Switch, but for major titles such as Battlefront, it's only logical that the game will be developed for next-gen consoles to keep up with the shifting industry. And I totally agree with that. And I do believe that by the time a Battlefront 3 releases, it will be 100% next-gen on PS5 and Xbox Series X, because hopefully by that time, a lot of people are able to get their hands on an Xbox Series X and PS5. I know it's been very tough to get your hands on one, but hopefully by the time Battlefront 3 rolls out, a lot more people have the next-gen consoles in their hands. Now it says, number 4, supporting the title. So Screen Rant says, one of the best things about Star Wars Squadrons, and indeed Battlefront 2 before it, is that EA continued support, is that EA continued to support the game and update it for years after its initial release. Yeah, and of course I'm thankful for that, because EA could have easily not added all the stuff to Battlefront 2 that they did. Now, says this was a welcome move and one that continued to help improve the experience for players. Then goes on to say, this is clearly a strategy that EA will continue to take with their future titles. As far as for the Star Wars brand, this has worked out incredibly well. Players would definitely welcome the news, and it guarantees the longevity of the series. And I totally agree with that. They'd have to have a really good game plan to make sure Battlefront 3 had some sort of DLC plan to keep the game alive. And, what would you want to see? Would you want to see something like a battle pass that's been in Fortnite and Call of Duty? Would you want to see DLC packs? Sound off in the comments. I'm kind of torn on that. I do think a battle pass would keep the game alive for a long time, but they got to be careful with that, because as you know, some battle passes have a price attached to them and they can be quite expensive. So they got to be legit on pricing here, of course. Now, number 5 says, capitalizing on Battlefront 2's successes. It says fans may be especially excited about the prospects of unreleased games potentially getting a revival like 1313, or the idea of new original content, but what shouldn't be overlooked is the eventual success that Battlefront 2 became after years of work. Yeah, because again, EA could have easily just been like, we're pulling the plug on Battlefront 2. We're not doing any more support of it. But instead, they allowed the developers to really bring Battlefront 2 back to life with the addition of, like supremacy mode and all of that cool stuff. So that was awesome to see that Battlefront 2 did come back to life. It's just too bad that they didn't continue it, of course. So hopefully we get a Battlefront 3. Now it says this was reflected in the recent free Epic Game Store's giveaway, which saw 19 million players opt to try out the title again. After its checkered past, the mistakes of Battlefront 2 were learned from, and new modes, extra customization, and diverse gameplay are all great signs of how far EA could take the title in another sequel. And there's still so much more they could do with a Battlefront 3, of course. I've heard some people go, what could they even do with a Battlefront 3? There's so much they could do with Battlefront 3, and that just sums it up right there. Now, no more microtransactions is an obvious one. EA definitely will not go back to what they experienced at launch for Battlefront 2. But of course, they have to keep the game alive if they did a Battlefront 3. So would they do it through a battle pass? Would they do it through a season pass or DLC? What would you want to see again? Sound off in the comments. And then goes on to say Lucasfilm Games, EA, and DICE. So this one's interesting. It says, for a long time, EA held the exclusive rights to create games within the galaxy far, far away. This says the arrival of Lucasfilm Games means that this content has been expanded to any gaming studio that has an inventive story to tell. This has resulted in projects like Zynga's Star Wars Hunters, going into development. Again, that game is supposed to release this year. I'm hoping that we get like official gameplay of Star Wars Hunter soon, and I'll be reporting on that. So don't forget about that one. But it says, however, despite losing that specific licensing agreement, EA is still planning on producing more games in the Star Wars universe. That means that Battlefront 3 would continue with both EA and DICE in order to maintain a sense of continuity despite all the big changes. And I totally agree with this one. I really don't think that Lucasfilm is going to go with a totally different studio for a Battlefront 3 because there's so much assets and content that could still be utilized from Battlefront 2 and brought over into Battlefront 3. I don't think they're just going to scrap all that and wipe it all away. Plus, again, they saw the success of Battlefront 2, after DICE attempted to fix a game and bring it back to life, which they did do a very good job of. And then, of course, there was that promotion on Epic Game Store, which brought 19 million players back into the game, which is absolutely insane. So I don't think they're going to just abandon, DICE as a developer on Battlefront 3. Now, number 8 says returning actors. Says, in regards to a canon storyline, it seems that the actors from the Battlefront 2 campaign have actually returned to work on a secretive new project. I've reported on this before. If you didn't know, there's many different media posts by, TJ, who plays Dell, Anthony Scordy, who plays, of course, Admiral Versio, and then, of course, Janina Gavankar, who plays Iden Versio, also posted teases as well. I've reported on that before. And that's another reason why I believe a Battlefront 3 is in development. Then it goes on to say, of course, what's more, Janina Gavankar, who plays the protagonist, Iden Versio, has been revealed to be working on a project once more, meaning that a continuation of the story is very likely to be taking place in the sequel. And of course, it'd have to be at a different point in the story because of the DLC that came out for Battlefront 2. Could be a prequel. Who knows? Because a lot of people want to see a pure Imperial story of Iden Versio instead of one showcasing her as a rebel. So maybe it could be a prequel set during the time of the book of Inferno Squad. Who knows? We'll have to see what happens. Now, finally, it goes on to say a canon story. We already went over that. Basically, they would keep the story canon and will be official Star Wars canon. And then, of course, it's yet to be officially confirmed. So remember that. Hasn't been confirmed yet, but I'm hoping, wishing, and dreaming that we get a Battlefront 3 announcement at EA Play this year. I mean, I would honestly settle for a simple logo reveal at this point or something. I really hope that we get a announcement on Battlefront 3. But that's going to do it for the video. Again, leave a comment in the comments below. What would you want to see in Battlefront 3? Do you think it's even in development? Do you think I'm crazy? Or what do you think is going to happen? But that's going to do it for the video. Everyone take care. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, smash that like button. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon for new upcoming videos. I will see you all next time, and may the Force be with you always.